Welcome. I thought today we would work on our feet and our ankles. Often an area we don't spend a lot of time in, but man, do we need our feet. And if you're anything like me, it's such a powerful place in our body to release. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. For the class, we will need a ball of some sort. So I'm using a lacrosse ball, but you can use a tennis ball. I don't suggest a golf ball, but I do know people that like golf balls. You can even take a pair of long socks and roll them up and make a fake ball. Or another option is a firm water bottle that you can use as well. So start from a standing position. Go get your prop or your ball or your water bottle. Just keep it in one hand or place it on the floor. And let's take a moment where there's let's call it a page gap or a page break, where sort of everything that's already happened in your day, we're just going to leave that in the past, and anything that's supposed to be happening, to come in the future, we're just going to leave there and truly arrive in our body in this moment. So perhaps gaze at the floor, close your eyes as I am. And from this standing position, feel the weight of your body across the soles of your feet. Even feel the texture of the ground below your feet. Let your shoulders relax and both arms get a little heavier. Keep some space between your teeth and a softness in your tongue. Notice what you're noticing about yourself or your environment. And may we continue to pay attention to ourselves as we move through this simple yet powerful practice, connecting to our feet. So take a long, slow breath into your nose. Nice big sigh out. You can flutter your eyes open, adjust back to the light of the room, and then take your ball or your water bottle and place it on the floor. And we'll start by rolling out the sole of our right foot. So place the transverse arch, the ball of your foot, against the ball. So that's the space just below your toes. And then lean into it. So we're not rolling anything yet. We're just creating some pressure with our foot into the ball. And you may even find that's pretty intense. So you can sort of move in and move out, increasing pressure, decreasing pressure, and sort of playing with that a little bit. Or if it's okay, pin and hold and stay in that place. Take another breath here. And then let's roll the ball down right to the middle of our foot and do the same thing. So we're pinning and holding, or again, perhaps pressing in and moving out. Again, whatever feels best in your body today. And then one more pin and hold. Let's move that ball down onto our heel now. And often you can put more weight into the heel because of the fat pad below your heel. So I find I can actually lift my opposite heel off to sink into that right side. And again, take a breath. Now let's start to create some movement here. So zigzag the ball from your heel up towards your toes and from your toes towards your heel. So in other words, you're going side to side, creating a shearing action. The pin and hold is there to help create blood flow and hydration to the tissues in the plantar fascia and the soles of the feet. And then now as we start to create some movements, we'll encourage movement of the layers and tissue as well. After a few side to sides, you can start to go forward and back, and it feels so good. Hopefully it is for you as well. And get all the sections of your foot, so the insteps of your foot, you really only have one instep, and the outer edge of your foot. And maybe you circle back to an area that just felt like it needed some attention. You can do circular movements, or again, pin and hold. And do your best not to look down at your foot. If you've been looking down the whole time, it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. But our feet are sensory receptors, so they're meant to sense the terrain that we walk on. But because we live in sensory deprivation devices, aka shoes, we have to wake up those sensors in our feet. And so if you lift your head and gaze somewhere else while you're doing this with your feet, those sensors will be a little bit more sensitive and more able to pick up those signals. Okay, I feel like that's good enough. I've talked you through a lot of it. Let's just leave the ball there. Plant both of your feet flat on the floor once again. Perhaps gaze forward or close your eyes. Oh, and just notice the difference. Wow. It still amazes me to this day, and I do it so often. But notice the difference between the foot we just rolled out and the foot you haven't. For me, my foot feels flatter to the ground. My foot feels more relaxed. I even feel more relaxed up through my calves, and that right leg, the leg I rolled out, even feels heavier, more connected. Those are just my experiences. Note, what are yours? And then, of course, often when we see, whoa, that made a big difference, it gives us the motivation to do the other side. So let's feel balanced. Let's do the other side. So we'll start in the same way. The pattern doesn't change. So place the ball at the transverse arch. That's the ball of the foot below your toes. And then lean into it, either holding here and breathing, or a little bit of pulsing in and out. Pressure, no pressure, pressure, no pressure. And then let's move that ball now to the middle of the foot, to the arch, the other arch with many arches. And then sink down. Ooh, this side feels a little more sensitive. So noticing those differences, very normal. I did air quotes because what does normal mean? And then let's roll that ball right down onto the heel, into the calcaneus. And again, often because of that fat pad, you can place quite a bit of weight sinking into it. And then let's go for some movement, that shearing action or zigzagging from the heel to the toes. And then from the toes down to your heel. Just doing that a few more times. Just noticing your foot. It's normal to do like weird things with your hands and do funny faces as you concentrate on these types of movements. And don't feel static. There's really no wrong way of rolling on the foot. Maybe there's people who'd argue with me on that, but be sensitive, be kind. It doesn't have to hurt to work. And then let's start to go vertically, so forward and back, from the heel to the toes, letting your toes curl around the ball. Find the instep of the foot, from the big toe to the inner heel. Again, try to keep looking up. And then the outside of the foot, from the little toe to the outer heel. And then go back to find those little spots that may feel a bit sensitive or just want some of your attention. Sort of work it out here. And of course, I'm doing this standing, but you could do this sitting on a couch or sitting on the chair. Often when we're sitting, it will allow for you to play with the pressure, how much weight you're putting into the ball too. So if you find this is intense or you have plantar fasciitis, it might be nicer to sit while you're doing this. Okay, let's stop. You can gently move that ball to the side or your water bottle to the side. And again, let's stand on both of our feet here, perhaps closing your eyes or gazing at a spot in front of you. Oh, wow, feels so good. But notice for yourself. Hopefully the legs are feeling more balanced. Notice the feet. Maybe that's enough and you just want to stop here and go on with your day. That's allowed. But let's see if we can't get a little more into our ankles now. So our feet, of course, are connected to our ankles, connected to the knee. Everything's connected. So even though I'm isolating some movement specific to these areas, just know it will make an impact everywhere else. So come up onto the big toe of your right foot and let's create some circles. Doing your best to take your time and circle the ankle. 3, 2, 1. Let's go in the other direction. And 3, 2, 1. Change sides. So come onto the big toe of your left foot. Let's create some circles. Trying to articulate fully in the circles. 3, 2, 1. Let's change directions. And 3, 2, 1. Very nice. This time bring your feet and your knees together. Bend your knees, take your hands onto your knees, and now start to create big circles with your knees. And let's change directions. Letting your feet move with your knees here. So feel the brim of your feet and the insteps of your feet. 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Come now onto your knees, hands and knees that is, and then tuck all 10 of your toes underneath. Now let's talk about toe squat for a moment. So shift your bum back towards your heels and stop when you start to feel sensation in your toes. You may even find you have to reach back and clip your little toe if it's short. Now this may be enough staying forward onto your hands, or you may find it's bearable to come up higher. The more weight you have over your hips and your heels, the more weight you'll have in your toes, thus increasing sensation. So leaning forward will be a little less, leaning straight back will be a little more. And hold here, let your shoulders relax, and focus on taking 2 long, slow breaths. Well done. Place your hands on the floor, lift your feet off the ground, wiggle your toes like you're waving at someone with your toes. And then tap your feet on the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the tops of your feet down and now sit back on your heels. And again, same thing here. You may find it best to lean forward. That will decrease some of the sensations in your ankles. If you can though, you can come and increase sensations by sitting up over the heels, and not one's better than the other. It's just what one's appropriate for your ankle joint here. This could be quite intense, so leaning forward will soften that. Staying upright will keep that, and even leaning back will increase it till your knees start to lift off the floor. That will increase the angle of plantar flexion. Finding what serves you best. This is a bit of a balancing technique as well. So you can bring the hands to the thighs if you'd like, or keep the hands by your side. Always lots of options, but don't let it be overwhelming. Listen to your instincts. Trust your inner wisdom. Good. One more breath like this. Then slowly bring your knees back down to the ground if they were lifted, and your hands back on the floor in front of you. Lift both of your feet up at the same time and circle your feet to the right for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the tops of your feet back down onto the ground. And then lift your head and your chest up and lean to the left side. As you lean to the left side, bring your right foot out from underneath you. So that right heel will stay close to your buttocks. So much so that your knees will come over your toes. This right knee is coming over those 5 toes. Now you may start to feel immediately sensation in your Achilles tendon. This is a common tight area for me, so I don't have to go very far to feel it. But you may find that you have to lean forward into your knee to get more sensation in the Achilles. Or you may find you don't feel much, instead perhaps just a stopping point in the front of your ankle. That can often indicate you're at your compression point. A moderate level of compression is very healthy. It helps keep the bones strong, the joints lubricated. So it's okay if you're not feeling much. Let's stay here for a few more breaths. One more breath like this. And lift your head and your chest up. Now, before we change sides, move this right foot forward so the heel is in line with your left knee. And again, transfer your hands to the ground behind you, maybe fingertips, maybe flat palms. Keep your left knee on the ground, but lift your bum off of your left heel. We're looking to feel sensation on the top of our left thigh. So can you lengthen your tailbone, squeeze your bum muscles for 3, 2, take a long breath, and 1. Bring your bum all the way back down. Now cautiously transition to the other side. So tuck your right toes underneath you and then step your left foot forward. Remember, it's not a big step. We just want enough that the heel can stay under our buttocks and the sole of your foot is flat. Now lean forward. Now this side isn't as tight for me as my other side. So as I lean forward, I'm feeling more sensation up through the back of my ankle and my Achilles tendon. Now that may or may not be your experience. So keep leaning forward, perhaps till you feel that, or perhaps you feel just a stopping point. Find your breath. Lift your head and your chest up. Transfer your hands to the floor behind you. Walk that left foot in line with your right knee. Keep your knee on the ground, but lift your bum off of that right heel. Squeeze your glute muscles. Perhaps look to the sky. Hold for 3. Take a breath. 2 and 1. Slowly bring your bum back down to the ground. Be cautious as you tuck that left foot out from underneath you. Now let's walk our hands out in front of us and take a downward facing dog. So you can lift your knees off the ground. In this downward facing dog, bend your right knee and push down into your left heel. So you can feel some sensation in your calves on that left side. If you're not feeling anything, walk your hands forward a little bit more and press your chest towards that left leg. Now let's change sides. Bend your left knee and push down into your right heel till you feel a little more sensation on that right side. Hold and breathe. And then bend both knees and bring your your knees back down onto the ground. Good. Keep all 10 toes tucked and again, sit back on your heels. Now let's progressively use some dynamic movement to challenge our body. This is great for the feet and the ankles, of course, our knees, our hips, our balance, whole body here. But our feet are warm enough that we can attempt these types of actions now. So let's play. This is my type of play. So take your arms to the side for balance. Let's begin sort of level 1 here. Lift your left knee off the ground and then bring the knee down. Lift your right knee off the ground and bring it back down. Let's do it again. Lift that left knee up and bring it back down. Lift that right knee up and bring it back down. Now, if this feels pretty darn challenging, which it is, then please stay single leg lifts up and down. If you feel it's appropriate to progress, then lift both knees up at the same time. Woo, balancing on the balls of your feet, and then bring both knees gently down. Again, knees up, and then knees down. And notice how your upper body's compensating to support these movements. That's how it's supposed to be. And down. Now, whoa, let's try it again. Up and down. Now let's add on. So now lift the knees up and then plug your heels down. Your bum has to lift to do that. And then lift your heels up and lower both knees down. Woo, good work. Knees up and heels down. Heels up and knees down. Woo. Knees up, heels down, heels up, knees down. Now let's put it all together for your party move. Here we go, arms to the side. We're gonna use all those movements to go right up to standing. Let's do it together. Ta-da! Nice, now let's go back down. Bend the knees, lift the heels, plant your heels, your knees. Let's do it again. Knees, heels, stand. Knees down. Whew. Good job. Last time. Knees, heels, stand. And bend your knees, heels up, knees down. Good job. Bring your hands to the floor. Lift your feet, wiggle your toes, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Then drum your feet on the floor. Drum for 4, 3, 2, 1. So nice. All right, come to sit down on your buttocks here for a second. Let's bring our feet into a cross-legged position. Just a quick practice today. Close your eyes or gaze at a spot in front of you here. Let your shoulders relax, your arms relax. Bring your attention down into your legs, into your shin bones and feet and toes. And even go past the physical body and feel your body in the floor and the earth. The connection we have to the earth is powerful, but easy to take for granted. And as you stay heavy and connected to the earth, let your attention come towards your breath. And as you inhale, imagine the breath coming through the nose, down the body, towards the earth. And then as you exhale, feel the breath from the earth come up the body and out your nose. Again, as your body inhales, imagine the breath going down the body into the earth. And as your body exhales, imagine the breath coming from the earth up and out through your nose. Spend a few moments doing that. Inhale, the breath goes down into the earth. Exhale, the breath comes from the earth up and out through the nose. Stay present to that. As you inhale, the breath goes down into the earth. As you exhale, the breath comes from the earth, up the body, and out the nose. And sometimes we can visualize or see the breath pattern in this direction. Maybe there's a color to it, or a pattern, or a texture. Maybe you're finding the breath is longer, slower. Maybe this isn't possible at all for you, and it feels weird or uncomfortable. Know that that's okay too. Perhaps the greatest wisdom in today's practice is not to take for granted our feet or the earth. And may we continue to give not only this area of the body, but earth itself some attention. Thanks everyone for joining me. Namaste.